What's going on, everybody? Spunky Knights 91 coming, guys, another video. Come at you guys with my Eagles Bills Week 7 preview. So the Eagles coming to this game on a 2-game win streak. Eagles clinched the NFC East last week. However, there's still stuff to play for, and Nick Sirianni made it very clear that the starters will be playing this game, and I think that's the absolute right call to make. This team has not, in my opinion, by any stretch, earned the right to sit out these last 2 games. Well, particularly this game in particular, obviously. And with the second seed still on the line, I think it was the right decision to play the Stars in this game. The Eagles, if they win out and they get a loss from the Chicago Bears, the Eagles will win the second seed for the playoffs. That number 2 seed was the seed the Eagles were in last year, and we all know what happened. The Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl as the number 2 seed last year. So, yeah. The number 1 seed is quote-unquote still within the Eagles' reach, but it's very unlikely that's going to happen. That's why I'm like, number 2 seed is the more likely. It's the more likely one that we should be trying to reach for. So the Bears played the 49ers this week, which could very well be a loss for the Bears. And then they close out their season against Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions have been struggling recently, but however, division rival and and even though even though the Lions don't have anything to play for, they were eliminated from the playoffs yesterday when they lost to the Vikings. They can still, in a way, play spoiler for the Bears next week. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But going to this game right here, definitely a big matchup for the Eagles. Josh Allen, his career is 0-2 against the Eagles. You guys probably remember that sight in 2023 game in Philadelphia with the overtime. I only bring that up because the Eagles have in the first 2 matchups they have had their they've gotten the better of Josh Allen. Fingers crossed that we do it 3 times. We do it for the 3rd time here. When it comes to this game right here, I look at this Bills roster. Yeah, no, Josh Allen is the heart and soul of the Buffalo Bills. We all know that. But he doesn't really have a good receiver core. Like a lot of these guys are very unproven, and the ones that are veteran guys, they're to tell him their career. The wide receiver core of the Buffalo Bills really don't scare me. Obviously Josh Allen being who he is, a guy that if they didn't have Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills would be a they wouldn't make the playoffs without Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the most dangerous weapon on the Buffalo Bills. Their defense secondary is not particularly that good. The secondary is pretty banged up as well coming to this game. The starters that they have in their secondary. So I look at this being a game where the Eagles can absolutely exploit the Buffalo Bills secondary. This could be a game where A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, those guys, they have a field day against this secondary of the Buffalo Bills. Because like I said, there's not any particular name that really sticks out in the secondary that's playing in this game. Like I said, just a very banged up secondary, and a secondary that even when the starters are out there playing, they're not exactly guys that I have any fear in. I'm just keeping it honest. I think we could definitely exploit this secondary, and we can definitely have a solid day against them. Their defensive line, however, Joey Bosa being a veteran who spent many years with the Los Angeles Chargers. He's a guy that you definitely have to make sure is accounted for, because he's a guy that could definitely, he could definitely be very disruptive for them. So that's definitely a guy. Jordan Phillips is another guy on that D line that you have to watch out for as well. So they do have some playmakers on that front 7, but like I said, the secondary really does not particularly scare me. Going over the injury report for this game, the final injury report that came out for this game here. Ruled out. Lane Johnson will not be playing this game. He's still dealing with the foot surgery, so I think we won't see Lane Johnson to the playoffs. Kobe Dean, unfortunately, will not be playing this game either. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. So I'm looking at you, Jahad Campbell. Jahad Campbell, is your time to shine. So Jahad Campbell's going to get that call there and get more snaps. With Kobe Dean not playing. That's a pretty big one. I have a Dean. But I do have faith for Jahad Campbell. And the Eagles have got some good news, some very good news. Jalen Carter is back. Jalen Carter is back. So that's some damn good news to have him back, coming back to play in this game. Questionable for the Eagles this game, offensive tackle Kevin Williams dealing with a shoulder injury. Now for the Buffalo Bills, their injury report is a little bit more extensive than ours is. Ruled out in this game, defensive tackle Daquan Jones dealing with a calf injury. He would not be playing. Defensive tackle Jordan Phillips will not be playing. So I did mention him earlier, but he will not be playing this game. So that takes away one. That does take away one big threat for us in this game. He will not be playing. He's dealing with an ankle injury. Jordan Pryor, safety for them, is not going to be playing. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Kicker Matt Prater is dealing with a right calf, so they're going to be without their kicker as well. Questionable, Dalton Kincaid, the tight end for them, a very solid player, a guy that moves the chains for the Bills. He is questionable with a knee injury, so that's going to be a game-time decision. If I had to take a guess, I think he will be playing. Another tight end, their other tight end, Dawson Knox, is dealing with a knee injury, so he would be questionable as well. And as we all know, the situation with Darius Slay, the Buffalo Bills claim him on waivers. The Eagles put in a waiver claim as well. The Bills, however, were ahead of the Eagles, and they claimed him ahead of the Eagles. And Darius Slay made it very clear he does not want to play for the Buffalo Bills. He wanted to come back to Philadelphia. He still calls Philadelphia home. So the Buffalo Bills, from what I'm understanding, there's a possibility the Buffalo Bills could release Darius Slay after this matchup, which is small on their part, to wait until after they play us before they release Darius Slay. So we'll see how that go. But Darius Slay made it very clear that he does not want to play for the Buffalo Bills. He would like to come back and play for the Philadelphia Eagles, which this is being his last year. Like I said, in this game, Josh Allen is the biggest threat to us. That guy right there is, he's easily a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. The guy's obviously a MVP. He won MVP last year. He's a damn good quarterback, and he is the heart and soul of this team. He's one of those guys where when the Bills are down, Josh Allen is that guy that kickstarts the team, and if they're gonna make comebacks to games, it's Josh Allen that is gonna be leading that charge. So he is the biggest threat to us right now in this game, for what I see. Obviously Josh Allen being the best, the best player on their team. Now, at running back, they do have a damn good running back in James Cook. He's one of those guys that if you allow him to run all over you, he's going to run all over you. He's one of those guys that could definitely be a game changer. But I feel very good about our D-line being ready for this, especially with Jalen Carter back. Jordan Davis, man. Jordan Davis has been having a hell of a year. He is definitely playing his butt off to try to get that contract extension next all season. Jordan Davis has been doing very well for us. But Jalen Carter there right beside him. I expect these guys to be stopping the run. Obviously, Brandon Graham when he's out there. Unfortunately, no Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Zach Bond, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. when he's out there, Jahad Campbell. Those guys, they're gonna definitely have a challenge ahead of them with this. Moro Jomo, another one. They're gonna have a challenge ahead of them when it comes to this running game of the Buffalo Bills, because even though they are a pass-heavy offense, they love to get that running game going with James Cook. So Those guys are going to have a challenge ahead of them, but I feel very confident that we will keep James Cook in check in this game. Now, like I said, their wide receiver core is really not that impressive at all, in my opinion. You know, the most well-known name in that offense, in the wide receiver for them, is Brandon Cooks. You know, if you remember Brandon Cook, you know, he played against the Eagles in Super Bowl 52 when he was with the Patriots. And Malcolm Jenkins knocked him out of that game. And he's basically kind of bounced around the league since then. You know, he played for the Rams, played for the Cowboys, you know, obviously he played with the Saints initially, but now he's with the Buffalo Bills. He was one of those guys that could blow the top off of a defense, a speedy guy. But I'm not really too worried about him. The guy that, you know, we do have to keep on more than anything, in my opinion, is Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman is a guy that, Josh Allen looks to him a lot. He's a guy that Josh Allen looks to stretch the field. Gabe Davis is also a guy that can be disruptive in this game. So all these guys have to be accounted for at all times. You know, while they may not be the most flashy receivers, the most biggest name receivers, these guys can make plays, and our secondary is going to have to be ready to go in this game. Like I said, Dalton Kincaid at tight end for them is being ruled as questionable. Dotson Knott is being ruled as questionable as well. If neither one of those guys are able to go, then Jackson Halls, their third tight end, will be the one that will get the call in this game. Keys to victory are always the same, man. Starts with the big man up front. Starts up with the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. Those guys got to set the tone for the game. Got to get that running game going early with Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley could definitely have some success against this run defense of the Buffalo Bills. So get that run game with Saquon Barkley going early. That will open up things in the passing game, the play action pass to Dallas Goedert, to Grant Calcaterra when he's out there. Obviously, I feel very good about AJ Brown and Devontae Smith eating in this game. Those guys have had a solid couple stretch of games. I think they could definitely eat in this game against this secondary against the Buffalo Bills. Because like I said, the Buffalo Bills secondary really does not scare me at all. So I think those guys can definitely have a very good day against this Buffalo Bills secondary. So get that running game going early. That will, like I said, open up the passing game, the play action pass, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and then just stretch that field with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson. Stretch that field. Defensive line has got to stop the running game with James Cook. Try to force Josh Allen. Josh Allen's one of those guys that, he could use his legs to make plays. Obviously, his arm has a cannon of an arm. So our secondary is gonna have to definitely be ready. But we gotta get the pressure on Josh Allen. We can't let Josh Allen feel comfortable. We have to keep him running for his life all game. You let Josh Allen get comfortable in that pocket. You let him move outside that pocket and extend plays. Then he's gonna make you pay. Bottom line. I got a lot of respect for Josh Allen. He's a damn good quarterback. We got to get to Josh Allen. We got to hit him early in this game. We got to force 3 and outs very frequently in this game, giving our offense more and more opportunities to score and expand the leads in this game. Now I'm gonna do all 3 sides of the ball have to do their job. Special teams has been a very big disappointment. It was a huge disappointment against the last week against the Washington Commanders. Fumbled the very first play of the game. Then, of course, Jake Elliott missing multiple kicks. Jake Elliott, get your head in the game, get your shit together, man. But what I was gonna say, I'm gonna do the reverse psychology, crossing my fingers, the opposite happens. But I'm picking the Buffalo Bills to win by a score of 31-28. I think it will be a close game. I'm gonna go with a field goal win by the Buffalo Bills, either in the fourth quarter or possibly overtime. That's my score prediction. Obviously, I'm hoping the complete opposite happens, and the Eagles go in there and they take care of business, and they stay right there with the Chicago Bears right there contention for that number 2 seed in the playoffs. But yeah, All three sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, coaching, everybody has to do their job. This is a game we could definitely win. Like I said, we beaten this team the last 2 times we played them with Josh Allen as their quarterback. But like I said, the Buffalo Bills are playing obviously because right now they're trying to, they're going to the playoffs, but right now they are still trying to stay in the race for their division. Right now, I think the Patriots are going to win the AFC East. I think they're going to win the AFC East, but the Buffalo Bills still have a shot. So they're not going to lay down for us, and we're not going to lay down for them. It's going to be a fight. Like I said, I'm doing a reverse psychology, hoping obviously the opposite happens, but we'll see what happens. But that's for y'all I got to say about this game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. As always, go Birds. Go out there, get this win. Keep us in contention for that number 2 spot. As always, like I said, go Birds. Spunky 1991 is out of here. Fly, Eagle, fly. Peace.
That's all, folks.